Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the science of connection, all based on the fantastic work of Charles Duhigg. And we need to, because there's a silent killer impacting millions of us. And the cure, well, it isn't a pill, it's a skill.
So let's start with the problem. We are in the middle of a modern loneliness epidemic, and the physical fallout from it is, honestly, it's shocking. This isn't just about feeling a bit down, it's a real, genuine threat to our physical health.
And I'm not exaggerating, the U.S. Surgeon General has actually declared loneliness a public health crisis. They said that lacking social connection can increase your risk of premature death as much as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. 15! I mean, think about how seriously we take smoking, yet we so often just brush off the danger of being isolated.
And if the cigarette comparison isn't enough, let's look at the hard numbers. Poor social connection is tied to a 29% increased risk of heart disease and a staggering 32% increased risk of stroke. These are massive, life-altering statistics for something many of us just dismiss as, a feeling. Okay, so if loneliness is the poison, what's the antidote? Well, a huge century-long study from Harvard set out to find that exact answer, and what they discovered was, well, it was surprisingly simple. The scale of this research is just mind-blowing. The Harvard Adult Happiness Study followed thousands of people for over 100 years. They tested every single theory they could think of, from wealth and diet to career success, all to find that one single thing that predicts a long, happy, and healthy life. And after a century of data, after sifting through all those possibilities, they found only one factor that mattered more than anything else: the number of meaningful connections a person has. People with strong, supportive relationships at age 45 lived on average up to 20 years longer than people who are isolated. 20 years! That's the real, tangible power of connection.
So this leads us to the most important question, right? If connection is the key to a longer life, how do we actually build those life-saving relationships? Well, the answer lies in becoming what's called a supercommunicator.
So, what exactly is a supercommunicator? You might be thinking it's someone with some kind of magical charisma, right? A person who was just born a social genius. Actually, it's not that at all.
Think about it like this. A supercommunicator is just that person in your life you trust, the one you call when you're having a terrible day, because you know they'll actually listen, and you'll walk away feeling seen and understood. We all know someone like this, and the really good news is anyone can become one. And this is the core message I want you to get. Supercommunication is not some magical trait you're born with. It's a set of practical, learnable skills. It's just like learning to read or even ride a bike. It might take a little practice, but it's something any of us can master.
Okay, so let's get practical. Let's open up the toolkit for connection and look at 3 simple but incredibly powerful tools that every supercommunicator uses.
The first tool is called looping for understanding, and it's a really simple 3-step process. First, you ask a question. Second, you repeat back what you heard them say, but in your own words. So what I'm hearing is that you felt. And then, here's the crucial final step. You ask, did I get that right? That simple question proves you're listening and makes the other person feel truly heard.
All right, the second tool is all about recognizing that not all conversations are the same. Most of them fall into one of 3 buckets. You've got practical conversations, making plans, solving problems. Then there are emotional conversations, which are all about sharing feelings. And finally, social conversations, which are about how we relate to each other. Think office politics or who should be the next president. A huge reason conversations fail is a mismatch, like when you offer a practical fix to someone who just wants to vent emotionally.
The key is what's called the matching principle. The best conversations happen when both people are having the same type of conversation. Supercommunicators are masters at this. They figure out what kind of chat the other person is trying to have, and they just meet them there. If it's emotional, they offer empathy, not a 5-step action plan.
So, how do you figure out which conversation you're in? Well, that brings us to the third tool, asking deep questions. Now, these aren't nosy questions. They're about someone's values, their beliefs, their past experiences. Things like, what made you decide to do that? Or, how did that actually make you feel? These are the questions that reveal the why behind what a person is saying.
And finally, let's talk about the secret ingredient. This is the fuel that makes all of these other tools work. And that secret ingredient is vulnerability.
You see, our brains are literally hardwired to pay attention to vulnerability. It just cuts through all the noise. I mean, think about reality TV. It's practically built on this idea. When someone shares something that's real and vulnerable, it sends this powerful signal that says,
I want to form a genuine connection.
And this creates this amazing feedback loop. It's called emotional reciprocity. When you make yourself just a little bit vulnerable, you make it safe for the other person to be vulnerable too. It's like you're making a bid for connection, and when they accept it, you create this almost instant bond of trust and understanding.
So the most crucial point is this. The cure for loneliness is right here. It's in our hands. It all starts not with trying to be interesting, but with being interested in other people. It starts with just one simple, real conversation. So the only question left to ask is, who in your life needs that connection today? Who will you reach out to?